Hello again. Welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Celestial Journey. So, since last episode, I have been very busy. I was originally planning on working on the library or the prison and the prison. I didn't really get to either of those. I will say that the library is probably going to be a post-world upload project, just because that's just where it's going to fall. I've still got a lot of work to do on the prison, and I started working. I needed to set up an area for our Cobbleworks. Now, speaking of the world upload, I will say that it's within this series. Usually, I try to hit around episode 25, 26 for the first world upload, depending on where we're at on projects, because of course I don't like stopping mid-project to do a world upload and then be like, oh, well, here's the rest of the build. Sorry you guys didn't get it in the world upload. Or here's the rest of the setup. So for this series, it's probably going to fall, I'll be honest, it's probably going to fall around episode 26 or 27, depending. Because I want to finish our current bit of automation work and setup work because, we just recently got Corporea opened up to us and nodes and everything. So we're kind of doing that initial push for automation so that we have alloys, we have, different machines automated. Basically just working towards spreaders, but of course that's very involved. We've got our blood magic automation. Now we have alloys and friends automated. Now we need to get the Cobbleworks part of it, and then we need to finalize that. So depending, it may take us a couple episodes over. It just depends. But anyways, after the first world upload, I will say that we're going to be working in this area a lot because we're going to work towards flight pretty quick after the first world upload, and then I'll be able to actually start opening this up. I've opened up certain parts, but it is annoying because I have to build cobblestone, basically cobblestone scaffold work, as you guys have seen a couple times throughout this series, to do a lot of this, and it would just be a whole lot easier with flight. I'm spoiled because of modded, I think. So just a heads up on that. And also, I do want to pop down here really quick and show you something that I did. I did move our Corporea index over to here from over here. And that's for basically accessibility. It's also the bridge gap between these two sides. So we have our Corporea crystal cubes available on both sides. And down here, I did set up some automation. You can see pulverized tin, pulverized copper, nether quartz, and pulverized coal slotted in here. And basically there's just a little system here, just like our alloys set up to the alloy smelter, just reading it, comparator out, routing node. Which reminds me, I did forget to make red string comparators. I always forget to make those for some of our projects today. I'll have to get some of those, I'll have to cut later and make some of those. But anyways, these routing nodes act, of course, as bridges over to our sag mills. So you can see tin dust, copper dust, quartz dust, coal dust. Right now, these just have octadic capacitors in them because I was starting to run low on our good capacitors. And I think the ones that I have left really aren't that great anyways. But the items are being pulled out on the brown line and just fed up to our night market area, like what we did with the alloys and metals and things. And then we have just routing nodes set with precise filters set to 16 of each item on these. And that's all there is to it. It's really, really simple. I don't know if I forgot to put one there or if I broke it and didn't replace it. Which chances are if I broke it, then the little tiles are probably in storage at the moment. But anyways, what I've been working on. Let's pop over here. I did move our Corporea network up. Basically just put Urns of Chance in. Because these are kind of like my bridge gap for Corporea throughout a lot of the base because they fit and yeah, they kind of match the build overall and they can move Corporea without needing to put just a big bulky chest or something like that. So I did move up through here. I'm going to walk backwards over to here so that I can walk up and then I can show you what we've been working on. This is kind of my temporary setup for Terra Steel, because I did run out between episodes. If we pop over here, you'll notice the Elven Gateway portal is gone at this point because I hated this setup. Also, the Alchemy Catalyst is gone from underneath this mana pool. These mana pools will go here soon, but I need to move this I really want to get this cleaned up before the world upload, but I probably won't get it cleaned up, I'll be honest. But we'll see how things go. So you may have this big, ugly bit of room here, but it's going to be getting cleaned up soon. Just, I don't know if I'll get to it realistically before then, but we'll see. We'll see. So anyways, if we head down, I think we'll come up, you can see Corporea Network coming up through here, but just to give you a little bit of an idea, I started working on, I was like, I need a building for the Cobbleworks, or an area for the Cobbleworks, and I had a question the other day about how I planned out my builds, and I know I've mentioned this in the past. Usually I don't plan them. I just start building and see where it goes, right? Just start opening up the room and then being like, oh, what do I want to do here? Oh, well, let's do this, and just kind of wing it. And yeah, I winged it with this, and this is what we've got now. We have this big, these are my dump chests. They won't stay here for too long, but this is my big tree, my big tree thing. I don't know. It started out I was building a tree, and then I added a crafting recipe for the roots from Between Lands. I need to update the crafting script for you guys because I have added a few things to this, but you will notice leaves falling. That's, of course, a side effect from the Between Lands. We've got some other places, I think, where leaves fall. But these are just Hearthgrove leaves. And then it's all roots, giant roots from the Between Lands, which were really easy to farm. Just vein mine up roots. And honestly, like 2 roots or so was enough to build out all of this. So, but yeah, so, and then it has eyes right now. I don't know if it'll stay there, but originally I had chiseled pitstone eyes, and because I was just playing around with the idea, and I was like, chiseled pitstone eyes, but they look kind of like dull, so then I changed it to scabbassed eyes, and I don't know, it just looks like it's like crazy. It's just like rah. It's nothing like super elaborate, but I don't know, I put them on there and I was just like, I kind of like it in this weird sort of way. Originally it was just another bit of roots there, but I just felt, I mean, I think it needs some more detail work, which I'll get in here a bit more, because I need to open up this room a bit more. It's actually kind of funny. This build and the original Enigmatica 2 build, I run into these issues where I have to work around stuff like this, like it's really close to that. But it's always fun building these kind of buildings or these areas where, you know, everything kind of like is all connected, and you have to like cram all this space into areas, because actually right up there is above ground. So that's why the ceiling is where it's at, because I didn't want to push it up. There's a couple places where I've poked through the ground, but I had to be really careful there, because I was like in kind of a lowlands area of the canyons, and so yeah, I was like, okay, well, this will work. But I do have to open up this room a bit more and push it out on the sides and everything, and bring the swamp water up one more layer once I figure out exactly exactly how I want to lay this out. But yeah, so we have this big I don't know, tree thing, and all of our lighting inside of here is fireflies. So you will see a bit of those. There's not, at least in this main strip, there's not a lot of, I don't think there's any torches, but in the side rooms I think there's still torches at the moment. But anyways, we have over here, we do have a spreader that's feeding down, just a single spreader at the moment with a phantom resistance lens. I know I mentioned before, I think this will be the last thing that we feed off of our Endoflame system, and the upcoming stuff that we'll be working on is going to be new mana systems. So this pool right here is my mana mirror pool. This one right here feeds our smeltery area, and this one just feeds this capacitor bank that basically just powers our workshop area, like our hands-on workshop, and then a couple small automation systems. And then I also need to feed mana over to there from here, but I'll get to that. And then also our farms, which are also, both of those are really, really low mana, and also this down here is really, really low mana. So just a phantom resistance lens. Phantom, of course, allows it to move through blocks. Resistance makes it move extremely slow, but it can move further. And so I kind of wanted distance. I valued distance over capacity and speed on this, because I just don't need a whole lot of mana. So it feeds into a mana splitter with 3 Dreaming Mana Pools here. This one feeds, you can see a pool over there highlighted, feeds over there. And then these 2 feed down to our new Elven Gateway. So down here, we've kind of got this like cluttered area, a couple Forsaken Soul Hags down here for sounds, and just those creepy eyes that they have. We'll probably put some statues down in here. I did start adding chunk loading rewards. I got 2 of those added in because I kind of want to move away. I don't have any more chunks available without upgrading it. And really, I want to get away from FTB utilities. I don't like using it too long if I can avoid it. But you can see right here our portal, our Gaia portal. So, and that's still topping off at the moment. It's really slow mana transfer. It really is, but that's okay. It's plenty for us, I think, down here. Now right here, you'll notice there are Hearthgrove leaves, but if I switch over, you can see it's trying to show something else. These are our ethereal, opaque mimic blocks with Hearthgrove leaves put in, so we can actually walk through those. And over here, we have this little area. This is the one I've been working on getting us ready for our Cobbleworks. Why is a Cobbleworks in a big tree? Don't know. That's just what I started building, and this is where it's going to go. But I think it'll be okay. Plus, we'll be making living wood over here, so maybe it counts. But our Corporea network is all plugged up. As you can see, it kind of shoots and then up that way. And then we do have 3 sparks here that are set to recessive sparks. And Mana Splitter, there's our Alchemy Catalyst right underneath that. We'll be doing some automation with that. And then our 3 Dreaming Mana Pools. Sparks over here with Mana Pools. Not a lot of mana in these at the moment, but that's okay. I actually just got these plugged up not too long ago. So, got all the mana ran and stuff not too long ago. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at on the build so far. So, I kind of wanted something really, because a lot of our rooms have really high ceilings and they're a bit more open. I wanted something really kind of claustrophobic-y, you know? Kind of tight areas, leaves, and just wildness, and yeah, I wanted a big monster tree, I guess. And then here I have prepped up some things for what we're going to be setting up. This bottom line here is just stuff that we're going to be automating today. Of course, Octadic Capacitor couldn't even fit in this because there was so much junk. This is going to be a mana system. I've set up a lot of these in the past. Or a fair few of these in the past, like mana-based or magical-based Cobbleworks, and this is going to be ours for this series. Now, I don't have the stuff in here for Metamorphosis. We'll see where we get to, if this takes 1 episode or this takes 2 episodes, and we'll just kind of, if we can fit it in, we will. It's going to be a really simple system, and we'll probably move, hopefully, pretty quickly through all this stuff. So anyways, we're going to start with the basics. We're going to start by automating cobblestone. And for that, let me get the stuff together here that we're going to need. Oh, also, let me go ahead and make up 10 red string comparators real quick. Because I am going to need those. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to dig this out. I was doing some thinking and planning and stuff over here. I'm going to dig this out a little bit more. And basically what we're going to do, redstone pulse mana spreaders with just a bore lens can break 6 blocks before they run out of mana. There's no reason to put a mana pool at the end. I had originally made recessive sparks because I was like, well, I might need to pick up mana, but then I was like, oh, well, no, not with this system. I was just kind of derping, so I kind of wasted materials, but I will use those recessive sparks for some other stuff, so it's not a biggie. And we will use some later this episode anyways. But anyways, what we're going to do, I'm actually going to have 4 cobblestone setups. There's going to be 2 over here. There's going to be 2 on the other side. I'm going to set up one on camera, and then I'll set up the other one. The reason being, we're going to need cobblestone for compressed cobblestone. I haven't looked to see, and this will be for general purpose cobblestone also. But yeah, we are going to need quite a bit of octuple compressed cobblestone before it's all said and done, because each infinity ingot Takes 2. And then we need it for the sword. We need it for 2 for the helmet. We need 2 for the legs. So, yeah, we're going to need a lot of octuple compressed cobblestone. I don't mind. The system's not going to be as fast as other systems, like Tech, Super Cobble, blah. But I spend so much time building on here that it's going to build up. So I'm not that worried about it. We still got a while before we get to endgame, especially doing Corporea. So we're going to have basically a little over 6 blocks between each bore lens. And we're going to kind of alternate the way our cobblestone is laid out. So our very first spreader, our very first pair of spreaders, we're going to have actually, we'll set them right back here, and that way I can do like kind of a glass cover over this. But we're going to have a pole spreader here. We're going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks. And then we're going to go ahead and count out like 1, 2, 3 extra, I think. And then we're going to have another pole spreader on this side. So this wall here is going to be basically one big Cobbleworks. And we'll have the same thing on the other side, and then we'll kind of expand the room out and have the rest, I think. But what we're going to do then, let's go ahead and put on bore lens. And bore lens basically lets it break blocks. Now, sadly, it's not set by default in this pack to be able to break obsidian. I was kind of bummed about that. That can be changed in the configs. I might end up changing. I don't know. There's other ways that we can make obsidian pretty easily. I may just contact Unhook and be like, hey, do you think we could set the break mining level of the bore lens a little bit higher? Because right now it's set just below obsidian. That's the default. So it can't break obsidian, but it doesn't really make sense, you know, not to be able to break obsidian, especially by the time you get to the bore lens in this packet. You've been able to break obsidian. I think normally it's just a way to keep from players being able to break obsidian before they're able to mine obsidian, I suppose, but that's like default Botania. We may set up an obsidian system within here, or we can always do it with blood magic pretty easily, just with wheels, so we'll see how things go. But anyways, this will go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks. It's going to break, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks that's going to break. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to set up a piston that sets right underneath this spreader, right above this spreader. And then we're going to have another piston system back in here, and then another piston system back in here. We're going to put a mana pool here. The only thing is, I'll have to test something in just a second, but we'll get to that. Put a mana pool back there and a mana pool right here. And then we're going to have sparks on top of these. And these are going to have dominant augments on them. And that's going to send mana over from this spark. Because it's basically just like, everybody take my mana. Now, I could use smaller mana pools, like diluted or something like that. I'd considered that. But I'm going to go ahead and use dreaming, because I've got all this mana coming down here. I don't... I mean, it's going to fill up over time. And it's basically going to be like, oh, look how much mana I have. Right? I've got a lot. So I'm really not concerned with big buffers. Even in something like this where it's going to take forever to consume all of that, I don't care. We want big buffers. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to run out... Yeah, what we'll do is we'll just put the timer on top of the piston. That will be perfectly okay. And then we'll run out some redstone here. And for right now, let me throw a torch down here. Okay. And for right now, let me just turn that off so we don't have to listen to it. Okay, and then this one over here, we're just going to put the timer underneath. So on top of and underneath the pistons will be good. And then what we're going to do is, if this one's sitting underneath, we're going to run out the redstone from here. And we're going to set up a little Cobbleworks. And it's going to be setting... So let's make sure... Yeah, I'm still in the loaded chunks area. Let's put the... So that'll come out there. Have cobblestone here. Yeah, this will work out. And then we'll have the piston setting there. The redstone will go back a little bit further. And then... and actually, let's do... instead of redstone right here, let's do a repeater. And it's going to be set to 4 ticks. And then... that redstone's going to come up. Then what we'll do is we'll just bring the redstone over like that. So much just trash. Put that cobblestone there to block off the signal. That should be about it for this. So if we put this down, what you'll see is you'll see the one on the left activate, and then shortly after, the one on the right goes off. Yeah, that's good. Okay. That should be fine. And then what we're going to do, let's go ahead, let's block that off, block that off, that off. We'll just kind of close this up. I will put some blocks back here. I'm going to figure out what I want to put back here, but just kind of decorate it. And we'll go ahead and block that stuff off. And what we're going to have is... Let's see, this all kind of relies on each other, so this shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let me go ahead and break this up, break that up. We're going to put a bucket of lava over on this side. We'll put that so that it flows down if anything was to happen. Then we'll place water in on that side. And then if I was to put our timer in right here, and let's set this down to like every 3 seconds. There we go. Cobblestone moves, it makes more. Probably speed this up a little bit. Let's go 40 seconds. I think I've done it in like a second before. I think this seems pretty good though, because it gives it time to make sure that the cobblestone's made over there. Oh. Break this off for just a minute. It can't move the cobblestone anymore, so I don't need this running right now without lenses. But we will put something in front of this. I don't think it can push little tiles, so that's going to fix the issue right there. We'll be able to push it any further. But then what we're going to do is we're going to put in, like right here, put in a torch. And the signal doesn't, like the circuit doesn't complete until a block is placed right here. Or pushed, you know, in this case. And so that should be good. And then, and that's pretty much it for the system itself. I mean, it's pretty simple. Let me duplicate it on this side real quick. Okay, I've got the same setup built over here. And I'm just going to put a repeater in right there, set to 4 ticks. And I got to thinking, I don't think pistons can break like solignolias and stuff. I've got some solignolias in here. And pistons shouldn't be able to break those, so I can actually use these to block the piston line if I don't want to put in glass, which is an idea. So really what I could do is put our solignolias in here, and then solignolia in, let me actually block off a bit of this. And then we just kind of have to spruce it all up a little bit, of course. But solar magnolias, we're going to want a lot of those anyways, so that should be fine. And then what we can do is, and then for this one to activate, I think, we could just do that feeding down, then we can facade this, but we can say output is just on the red strong signal, and input is on the red, yeah. And then if it was to put a block in, there we go. It just sends it through. And that way we can have the redstone torch basically feed down into this. And so then if I was to put in the timer and we were to say 40 ticks done, that should start running. And then we put the timer in right here. 40 ticks and done. I think I broke a torch somewhere. That's fine. That one activated. This one, though. Oh. There we go. I must have pulled that torch up. There we go. That one breaks. That one breaks. Beautiful. Let me just stop this for just a moment. Now, I just need to put in the collection system at this point. And of course, I've got to clean all this up. But we'll get to that. I just want to get the systems in, then we can do all the cleanup for this area. Which is basically just putting in roots and kind of decorating it out a little bit. So what we're going to do for the cleanup is we're going to use a hopper hawk, and this is going to feed directly into just a compacting drawer. And I'm thinking like somewhere in the middle. 6, 7. So this would be the actual middle for this. And so what we'll do is we'll just put in our compacting drawer here, our hopper hawk. There we go. It picked up some cobblestone. Beautiful. And I'm going to have to pop down and get my key. But really, technically, right now, I can go ahead and let that start running again. And there's really no way that it can activate the bore lens before it's pushed all the way through, because it relies on the stone reaching that to basically complete a circuit to actually fire the bore lens to start breaking things. So we don't ever have to worry about, like, sometimes if you have it on a timer system and it doesn't have a pool there for, like, with, like, gravity. You know, I've done that in the past, which is great, but sometimes running it on a timer, the redstone may act up a couple times. Maybe the stone doesn't get to exactly where it needs to get to with this kind of a system, and this just makes it a little bit easier for us. So, a little bit safer, I should say. And I need to duplicate the system on the other side as well, except it's not going to have compacting drawers. This will be for our compressed cobble to go ahead and get that running. Let me go grab our key real quick, and we're going to go ahead and lock that in for right now. And as far as moving this stuff, I'm really thinking about using nodes just because it's a little bit cooler. So we'll just go ahead, remove this, remove that. We're going to put compacting drawer in here, here, and here. Now, we won't get all these plugged up today because it's going to need octuple compressed for some of this, but let's go ahead and put in double compressed, and it's just going to go here, and it's going to do double, triple, quadruple, and then, which I know some people, it might drive them insane because it's going to go stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. But I think it's going to work out good. Oh, and I need to do these as framed compacting drawers. Not standard compact. Okay, one second. I guess I'm going to do these as probably... I don't know. Give me a second to do some thinking. Well, actually, I'll just pull these... I'm going to pull these up for right now. I'll figure out what kind of a frame compacting drawer I want to do. I'll leave it as compacting for right... Actually, I'll just do it here. Because all it takes to make those is just sticks, but I don't know what I want to slot them as right now. Alright, but to actually move this, all we're going to do is, yeah, actually just a single set of this for right now will be good. We're going to put a routing node, or a master routing node right here, and this is just going to control the Cobbleworks, all it's going to do for the compressed cobble. What we'll do is we'll have a input node that sits down here, and in this area will be a little bit noisy. That's okay. I love the sounds of the Cobbleworks running though. Input node plugs up to there, and we are going to have this turned off with a corporeal crystal cube, but we'll get to that here in just a little bit. So, and then that is going to plug up to an output node. We're not going to filter it because it doesn't matter, because this is going to be locked in, so all it can do is move double compressed into here, because that's all that can go into here. And then we'll do the same thing, quadruple compressed over to here, because that's all that can go over there, right? Once we get a quadruple compressed. So, I do have an entire field drawer of double compressed, so I'll go get that here in just a little bit. And then some. I had to put storage upgrades in it. But that's pretty much the cobble system. We just got to clean up now, and then we got to let it build up to octuple compressed and have it shut off with the corporeal crystal cube, which we'll get to that. It's funny because this tries to connect every time it goes by. Not really sure if I like that happening though. That's the only thing. I might put it here. And just bind it over like that. That'll be fine. Okay, now I've got to duplicate this exact same setup over on this side. So give me just a minute while I get this together. And I'm going to do some thinking on the compacting drawers. We may get those changed here in just a minute. I'd rather get it set up, changed over here pretty quick if I can. And this will be an output node also. And yeah, and then it'll have input, output here, and an input like on top of that or something. And that'll be the entire thing. So, and yeah. And so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get this over here set up. Because like I said, I am going to want another cobblestone system. So I'll get that set up, and I'll be back here in just a minute. Okay, I got that cobblestone set up. That's done. Now what we're going to do is, actually, one thing we need to do before we get on to the next bit. It's not running at the moment. I haven't put the timers in, but it's all set up. It's ready to go. Now what we're going to do is, let me grab 2 of our routing nodes. And I'm going to need to get signs also. But we're going to put a routing node setting here and a routing node setting here. Just standard routing nodes. And let's go ahead. We'll grab this one. What we're going to do is we're going to bind this down to our main input and main output systems from our node network, which is like a big spider down here. So the first one's going to be our input line. And this will connect to all of our input nodes. And I'm going to go ahead and grab this connection real quick. And let me make up some more weedwood signs. I've got some around here somewhere, but... Okay, but we're going to put a sign here and just say input. And then we're going to put a sign here and we're going to say output. And this is basically so that we can treat these almost like master nodes for the system. Because they connect directly to our night market, right? Because that's where we're going to feed all of our materials into. Okay, and that's where our input's going to be for this side. We'll get to that in just a minute. But we're going to switch gears. I don't need the cobblestone right this second. I just want the system set up and ready to go. And I'm going to wait till I get the corporeal crystal cubes and the wireless redstone in place so that the timers will shut off, and only this side's only going to run when we need cobblestone. This side's going to run pretty much indefinitely because its main goal is making... I did get our double compressed cobblestone and bring it up. That's why we've got so much. But this is mainly going to just be making octuple compressed. And I really don't foresee us ever needing this thing to shut off. Realistically. If the day ever comes, all we got to do is set up an octuple compressed read on a corporeal crystal cube, and that's when it'll shut off. Or maybe make this a subnetwork and it reads cobblestone on this subnetwork, so that it fills up all of these, but I really don't see that ever happening. So, and I did go ahead and get all this set up the way that it's going to be, so we've got all of our inputs and outputs throughout here, but it's all locked, so it's not going to send the stuff just yet. But once I get a my very first sextuple, I just place it in here and then it's done. So okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to set up our, let's see, I don't know if I want to set up the corporeal crystal cubes first, or actually let's go ahead and do the let's see, let's open this up. That would be, I'm going to have that border there, so this room will open up a little bit. But that would be where it would go. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our sand generation. Because I do definitely want to get this in place. So we're just going to put an open crate right up here, just above the alchemy catalyst. And then we're just going to open this up. And this is actually a really easy setup, because we're going to have a hopper that sits right there, and this hopper's going to have a output node sitting right there. This output, no, that's stone. Okay, it's going to have an output node right there. This is the north. We're going to say precise filter on the north, cobblestone, keep 16 in there, and then what we're going to do is just bind this over to our output line, and there we go. It's just going to start making sand. That's all there is to it. Now I'm going to put that right there for right now. We can let this finish running out, because we don't have the collection system and the redstone, the corporeal crystal cube system in place just yet. So what we're going to do is, let's see, for the collection, let me grab a hopper hawk, and I need to get some kind of like general like chest type things. Let me actually grab 2 hopper hawks. Could actually use drawers for this. I might use drawers for this actually, because that way they're just easily filtered without an item frame. But honestly, a chest would be okay too, but honestly a drawer would look pretty good, I think. Let's go ahead and take our hopper hawk, and alright, let me go ahead and get some drawers made up, and then we'll just go ahead and frame these real quick for the frame drawers. I'm going to go ahead and just place that down right there. And we'll go ahead and like slot cobblestone into that one. And technically we could go ahead and run this for a minute. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So we'll put our timer up here. This is going to be 40. And then timer here, set to 40. Okay, so that's done. That can go ahead and run, and we should see it here in just a second. There we go, that activates. That activates. It's going to start grabbing that. Okay, so then, let me go ahead and plug up the input line for this. Should have set this chest up in there. Would have made life just a little bit easier. But all we need to do is just put an input node there and bind it over to the input line. And I don't really think, I think cobblestone's like full already, so I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but that's fine. That is in place, and then for the sand that's going to be coming in, let's go ahead, I gotta figure out where I want to set this up at. I mean, really, it could sit back here. Because I think that's all that's going to be ran through the alchemy catalyst. Let me just take a look at the alchemy catalyst. I don't know if there's anything else that we're going to want to run through this. I know we can make petite flowers. We can change wood types. Some of this stuff we'll use for automation, like flowers and things. We can make leather, but we can also just run cows. I don't know. We might make all of our leather through that method. We'll see. Like elven quartz. A lot of this stuff will just be automation things. I don't think there's anything else related to Cobbleworks that we'll be doing here, though. I really don't see anything. I do need to look, because we're going to have to automate clay also, but I think... yeah, alchemy table with sand and water. It's probably what we'll do. I'm not in any rush for that, though. I don't think right this second, but I think that's what we will do for that. So, yeah, I guess I'll just put a sand drawer back in here. So we'll have... this room's got to get opened up a little bit. But we'll have our frame drawer sitting here. This is going to store sand, and I'll kind of spruce this up just a little bit. But then we'll just put our hopper hock setting here. Okay, so that's going to grab all the sand for us. And let me also go ahead and just put a solignolia up here also. This room's going to be pretty much covered in solignolias because there's a lot of in-world crafting going on. And then I think... let me grab that. Let me grab our input. And then we'll just put the input here. This is going to bind over to our general input line. So you can see it's pulled all the sand out of here. And so then for right now, I'm going to go ahead and just release that. So that can start crafting sand for us because we are starting to get a little bit low on sand. And then I'm thinking actually that we might... let's move all of this. You can see the hopper hawks have been... they're grabbing it because their range is so massive that they're grabbing the cobblestone from way out here. Like if we take a look, you can see it covers all this area over here. It's kind of crazy how much range they have. Oh, but you know what? I just thought of something. They are binding... they're binding to mana pools, and I don't want that. Because they've got plenty of range without being bound to a mana pool. And I don't want that. I'm just wasting mana right now. Solignolias too. I might find that I plug it back up, but we'll see how things go. That one definitely doesn't need it. You can see it's not really using... I mean, this wasn't a full mana pool. It's barely using any mana, and it's just constantly making sand. Just non-stop. You could speed this up with extra hoppers or faster insert into the item crate, or the open crate, but this is perfectly fine for us. Alright, so then what we're going to do is... I'm thinking that our alchemy tables might actually work here pretty well. So if we had them set up right there, maybe. And I know I've got to open this room up a little bit more. I love that sound, just non-stop. Like, I think this Cobbleworks, once it's like all up and going, it's going to be a fun place to be in when stuff's happening. And I mean, we could scale this out to where it's even bigger. I was about to say, like, where's our cobblestone? But it's going into making this at the moment. Oh, and you can see this is stopped up because there's no more mana to send a burst. And that might be a small issue that we run into just until... if I need to send more mana over, I will. That's just something I'm going to have to see once this fills up. Because these are steadily filling up. I might set up another mana pool. I've got to kill another wither, but I might set up another... not another mana pool, but another spreader. Sending mana over. I might. Because I think... maybe once all this is up and running, it might pull too much. But this one's actually coming out positive on mana, so I don't know. It could be because of the Hopper Hawks, or there's no telling, really. This hasn't even drained any mana since we got this set up. Okay, but for right now, I'm going to turn that off. The reason being, I think we've got plenty of sand for a minute, and because I don't have any redstone control on it, we're not doing anything with the sand at the moment. So, okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to set up our alchemy tables. We've got sand automated. The next thing we need to do is get gravel automated. Okay, so let me grab these, and let me grab 2 inputs, 2 outputs, and 2 precise filters. And what we're going to do, these are actually pretty easy. We're just going to drop our orbs in here. And I'm going to send, we're actually going to have a output routing node that sets, I will just put it here. And then one that sets here. I love they just look kind of like magical, sort of. Then what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and just, before we plug that up though, I need to put the filters in. Let me get, I'm going to get, actually I only need, well, I guess I can just hold on to it. We're going to put, this is going to be on the west side. We're going to say precise filter here. Keep 1 pulverized coal and keep 65 gunpowder in this. And we're going to go ahead and close off these. We're going to put gunpowder in like that and pulverized coal like that. And it's going to start crafting something for us. Let me go ahead and bind this to the output line. Okay, so that's going to fill that up. It's going to make explosive powder for us, which does not stack. This is probably going to be one of the few exceptions where stuff actually sits in the machine, because the explosive powder is going to go directly to our alchemy table. And it's not going to be something that's stocked, so it's not something that I'm going to read necessarily, and it's a very slow used item. Very, very slow. So I think this will be one of the few cases, and anything that's primed kind of keeps like 63. You know, like Embustio keeps 63 pyrotheum dust in there. Even whenever it's, you know, done running, it's going to keep 63 just to prime the system, basically. But in this case, we're going to go ahead and just keep items in this. It's not much being stored, aside from the stack that we keep on hand. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put an input node here on the bottom. And I'm actually going to bind this input node to the output line. And it's not going to pull that out because output, it's all filtered. And then what we're going to do is bind, let's see, I'm going to grab an MBT item filter, this right here. And this is going to be on the west side. Is that on the west side? Yeah, it is. This is going to be on the west side. No. MBT item filter. And this ignores the MBT of the filter. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to be making gravel, which just takes cobblestone and explosive powder. And so what we're going to do, let's grab our explosive powder out of here, and it's going to go ahead and craft another one so that it's ready. But these things are good for 64 uses. So 2 gunpowder and a piece of coal is super cheap, right? We're going to go ahead and block out all of these slots. And we're going to say that you keep 1 of these, and you're also going to keep 16 cobblestone. Now, if I was to throw this out, I'm just going to throw it in the trash for right now. Or forever, I guess. Let's go ahead and plug that up. And you can see it drops the explosive powder in and it starts making gravel for us. Beautiful. It's as easy as that. And then we just drop down an input node here. Bind this to the input line. And there we go. It's going to start pulling out gravel. Now, gravel's not going to go into a drawer like a buffer drawer. These buffer drawers really are only for filtering purposes. And that way I can have basically a chest that looks like this. I mean, I could put an item frame on a chest. That works to filter the hopper hawk, but we're going to do the frame drawers just because it'll match this build a bit. And I can put them into there. And it's basically going to run through this explosive powder until it's gone. Then it's going to drop this one in there and craft another one, basically. And that's gravel automated. So yay, that's done. Okay, I went ahead and pulled out the Magician's Blood Orb for just a minute out of here because it's making a lot of gravel and I just don't need it. And I got the cobblestone shut off. It was at like 8 stacks, but then it's made a bunch of gravel and ran back down. But anyways, we're going to set up one last thing this episode, and then there'll be a part 2 to the Cobbleworks, because I was doing some editing, and we've only got about 10 minutes here. I'd like to go ahead and automate smoothstone. And then next episode, we'll get all this plugged up with the Corporea crystal cubes and get all the rest of this junk plugged up. The rest of this stuff is all pretty simple stuff that we've covered. Random carpet setup, we'll do that for the living wood. But what we're going to do, I'm going to need, I think I've got everything that I'm going to need. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to set it up right here. And we'll go ahead and slot in smoothstone for this. And then, of course, we will put a input node here. And we'll go ahead and just bind this over to there. And all we need to do for this system is actually fairly easy. Let's set up a hopper hawk here. Let's set our pulse mana spreader right here. And we're going to dig this back just a little bit. And the reason I'm digging this back is basically just so I can have lava back here and it not burn roots and stuff that are on the front. So I don't have to use facades for this. And I was thinking I'm going to probably put sneaky levers here on the timers as well so we can manually shut off if I need to. We'll just do sneaky levers sitting right there that are like roots or whatever. Let me go get a bucket of lava real quick. Actually, while I'm down there, I'm going to go ahead and get 3 buckets because I'm going to need 1 for the smoothstone generator. And long term, we may add additional, smoothstone generators or additional cobblestone generators, things like that. But just singles for right now, and then we'll play it by ear. I'm not too worried about having a system that I have octuple compressed cobblestone tomorrow because realistically, it's going to be a while before I need it. I guess I could just take the ladder up, but I'm just going to take this way. But realistically, it's going to be a while before I need it. And I spend so much time building on here that it's going to build up, I've got a lot of building to do before I reach endgame, so. And let me go ahead and toss 2 of these buckets in there. One's going to be for living rock. One's going to be for the metamorphosis. And I think that's the main things that we'll need them for. And then what we're going to do is just slot in, we'll go ahead and dig this down. We're going to put water here that flows out. And then we're going to put, and let me go ahead and put that there. And actually, no, I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and grab, this piston needs to be 1 higher for us. Okay, and then we'll have the water flow out here. Go ahead and block that off. The lava's going to come out here and make the smooth stone. Okay, and then there's our piston. Let's go ahead and just put a timer back here. And that's going to push it out to there. We'll have our Solagnolia sitting here for this one. And then we're just going to put our timer back here, set to, let's do 40 again. And Solagnolia right there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and bind that up. Let's see, I'm going to leave this open for now because I am going to have to put Corporeal Crystal Cube wireless connections in a lot of this, so I might as well just leave it open. We'll do that next episode, and then we'll clean up next episode and be able to see the room once it's finished, I do believe. And then what I'm going to do is, let me grab our weight lens and our messenger lens. And then I'm also going to want a slime ball. And then we're just going to combine these together. So weight lens and messenger lens. The messenger lens is just to have it carry less mana, because it's going to get stopped on the initial block. It cannot be combined with like phantom lens or anything. It can only hit one block at a time with the gravity lens. So we're going to go ahead and just put that right there. Let me go ahead and just do this. I actually kind of like this little system for this kind of thing. Redstone conduit there, and of course then I can facade it. And we are going to need a pull that this binds to. It's going to be out of sight, so we'll just drop a pull in. Then if we were to send this over, output, strong signal, input, there we go. Awesome. And so basically what it's going to do is it's going to drop that stone. It's probably going to do it so fast that the Hopper Hawk really doesn't have time to pick it up, because it's dropping directly onto, like, into the same spot. I mean, really, it could build up a stack, and then the Hopper Hawk would grab it once it gets a full stack. It's not going to despawn or anything. So yeah, I don't know. We'll let it run. But you can see basically it's sending a very minute amount of mana, and it's dropping the stone as if it were gravel. It's breaking on the Hopper Hawk, and then it's going in. Now, of course, we could do a hopper here. That would work also. Let's just pull up the Hopper Hawk for right now. Let's grab the drawer. Let's move it over to here. Because I guess I could save a Hopper Hawk, and that's going to save me runes. So, Hopper Hawks are one of those things I can never really have too many of them. So then what we'll do is just put a hopper in right here. And then any kind of a block above this. I'll figure out what I want to put there, but for right now just a torch will be fine. I'll probably change it to something. I don't know what though yet. But anyways, it's going to then send it over. And it's going to break on that torch. And there we go. And it's going to start making stone and sending it into our main system. So there's smooth stone automated. And then we'll just change the block that's there, and then presto, we're done. And we just have to plug it up to the Corporeal system. Okay, we've got 78 stone right now in the system, so it can run for a bit for sure. 84 now. Beautiful. Okay, so that is automated. And I think that's where we're going to end out this episode. I'll probably clean up what we have already in place. I'll probably work on cleaning up that between episodes. But we still have the whole back section here to do. And we've got to get all that stuff set up. Over here is going to be a furnace and a sag mill. 2 furnaces and a sag mill, in fact. Set up on this side, kind of opposite that, and then, yeah. And then we'll have Corporeal Crystal Cubes and a few more kind of piston systems. The majority of this is piston systems. because like living rock, living wood, our piston systems, well, living rock is, living wood's random corpus, and then these are machine based, and then we'll have the metamorphosis as well. So we'll have kind of 3 more other systems, and then these 3 that are pretty quick and easy to automate because they are just running things through basically machines. These 3 things. But yeah, so we'll end out here, and then we'll have kind of a part 2 where we finish up setting everything up and then get all this cleaned up, and then we'll be good to go on the Cobbleworks side of things. I do need to make probably 2 more alchemy tables. One will be making clay, one will be making flint, and then I am going to put a suggestion on the Celestial Journey Discord about maybe having it so that the mining level of the bore lens is set up higher, because, you know, Britannia's late enough in the pack. It's not going to be game breaking at all to be able to break obsidian with the bore lens, because there's a whole lot easier ways to make obsidian than what I would like to do. But of course, we're going for more fun setups instead of just what's convenient within this series, of course. So but yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. It's been fun. I always love working on Cobbleworks. Hirokane said that I don't want to hold that. Hirokane said he always gets excited about Cobbleworks. Not in the same way. I really like Cobbleworks, and they're a lot of fun to set up, especially when it's something like this and not just like, say, a stonework factory. You know, that's kind of boring. But when it's something like this and there's just a lot of moving parts in here, right? And we still have more moving parts to add to this. I did decide I don't think we're going to set up orchids inside or anywhere near our Cobbleworks, because they just take so much mana. They need dedicated mana systems, not trying to make some metals out of just a measly amount of mana coming in. So we're not going to be setting up an orchid in this room, but we are going to be doing a dedicated mana system for the orchids before too long, and setting up orchids, because auto materials would be kind of nice. I get by pretty well just by clearing out the base, but there are still some materials that I do kind of suffer on. We need to get ore berries in place as well, but I've already got a place planned out for those. That's actually going to be on the other end of this tree, one of the areas over there. So but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time for part 2 of the Cobbleworks, where we'll kind of wrap up things. So anyways, until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.